For a lot of us, a steak on the grill is the perfect thing for a summertime meal. Stay tuned and see how to make the dolls some grilled steaks. All right, so we're using, actually this is two clays. This is a combination of 2 parts translucent to 1 part white. And it's one of the combinations I keep in my stash pretty much all the time because I work with it so much. And this piece is just Fimo in caramel. Now, Fimo caramel is one of their soft clays, so it's not too hard to work with. And I've just rolled it into a rather fat snake. At this point in time, the size doesn't really matter. And I see I have some chalk on it. That's okay. We're going to use that chalk in a little bit anyway. So we're going to roll this like this, take our knife, and kind of start cutting. Cut part way. But then I want you to use your fingers and just kind of pull the clay apart. Then we're going to take some of this. And this clay is really soft. If yours isn't soft enough to scoosh around like that, then go ahead and roll it out with your roller. But mine, I think I've got Fimo white in with the translucent, so it's pretty soft. We're going to put it in like that, and we're going to put this back together into the kind of drum shape. What size this is doesn't matter yet. We're going to roll it out when we get this in. Now the steak we're making is just kind of generic. It's not a specific steak. I make these in Dollhouse Miniature size. In fact, I've got a video over on that channel for this same project that I did a couple of years ago, and I decided to do them in doll size. It's just kind of a generic boneless steak, and ours is going to be, we're going to use our grill tool and make it look like we've grilled it. I'm going to put another cut in here, and we'll add another little line of fat. It doesn't have to go all the way in. You can make yours however you want. And then I'm going to take this. I'm just going to kind of flatten it out. And I'm going to put it right here. And now I'm going to roll this down. I'm going to figure out where I put my ruler. I saw my ruler when I sat down. There it is. I want to roll this down to about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Doesn't have to be exact, but just, okay, that's about an inch. So I'm going to get quite a few steaks out of this piece. And they're each going to look a little bit different because the clay is twisting and turning a bit. All right, that's good enough. Then I'm going to cut the end off because I want a flat end. I don't want to use this concave area. And then I'm going to set this over here, actually over here. Oh, I did a good job. I made that exactly 2 inches. So I'm going to cut this into 4 1/2-inch pieces, each approximately. And I'm not going to measure that part. I'm just going to eyeball that. So you want about a 3/4 inch diameter piece to start with, and you want about a 1/2 inch thick. And now I'm going to kind of move this one so it's kind of shaped like that. And I'm going to just pinch it down. And I'm going to pinch it down until it's around a 1/4 inch, somewhere in there. You can make it thicker, you can make it thinner, but I wouldn't go much thinner than that. This is the size I like the best. I think it looks the most in scale when we put it onto a plate for the dolls. Do the same thing again. And because we've got that fat going through, and I forgot to move that one to... Now, maybe in the future we'll come back and do one that has a bone in it. But this is a good place to start working on things like this because without having to figure out the bone and not having to put that in, it's a little easier. And this one's just a fun project. So I'm getting mine all about the same size. And they're not all the same shape, but that's okay. And if you want to make a specific kind of steak, go look up pictures and get the right shape. Like I said, mine are just generic. Now I'm going to put these on a paper towel because this is going to get really messy. And by the way, don't roll this out. Use your fingers because you don't want this to be shiny. You want it to, your fingerprints are going to leave just enough texture that you're going to get, it will look more real. So I've already got some chalk in here because I was messing around. But I'm going to add more because we need to make some steak. We need to color these. So this corner over here, it looks like I've slopped some other stuff in there, but for the most part, it's a little bit of red and then some rust, kind of a deep colored rust. And I played around with this earlier today, and I found that the best applicator for this part is actually a Q-tip or a cotton swab, depending on where you live. Now, we're going to put this just on the center on the side, and we're not going to touch the fat part. This is just going along the meat part. Don't get it on the white. This is because usually, at least when I cook meat, I don't go well done. I go more medium, to a medium rare to a medium. And there's almost always a little bit of red showing on the sides. And I need to get a wet wipe because I got red on my thumb and got it on the top of my steak. And I don't want it there. Like I said, this process of chalking on these is going to get really, really messy before we're done. So be prepared for that. Have wet wipes, have a towel, have paper towels down on your work surface. Okay, good. I didn't get any more red on there. And even if you're going to glue these down to a plate, because I know a couple of you have told me you always glue your foods down to a plate to keep little siblings, little kids from trying to eat them, and keeping pets from getting into them. So if you're going to do that, still finish both sides because you might decide after you're all done that one side looks a lot better than the other one. Okay, just double checking my fingers. I don't want to get red where I don't want it. All right. Now the next color we're going to use is going to be very familiar to you if you've done my food videos before. We're going to use a lot of yellow ochre. I need to wipe my blade off. There we go. And I may need more, so I'm just going to leave that there. I'm using a rather large eyeshadow brush. Excuse me, my voice decided to depart for a second. And we are going to put this over everything, over all sides of this. Now it's starting to look more like it's been cooked. So we're just going to continue brushing this around. A little more in there. Making sure I'm trying to stay under camera. You guys know I struggle with that. As many years as I've been doing YouTube videos, I still struggle with staying under camera. I need yet a little more. Because like I said, we're using a lot of yellow on this. And be sure that you're kind of burnishing it in with your brush. Kind of rub it on so it doesn't come off when you handle this. We are going to put a clear finish on. Oh, I got some red on the fat on that one. I didn't mean to do that. Try and make sure everywhere is covered with this yellow ochre. All right, now the next chalk we're going to use is a brown. Now try and keep this off the fat part, off the white part, and concentrate more on the edges. I'm actually going to get myself a clean paper towel so I'm not contaminating everything with previous chalks. Whoops, do not mean to get that on there. See if I can get my brush over. Here we go. Little excess chalk there. You definitely want to add color to this. Now, the next step is going to be very, very messy. Let me finish this up. And we have the grill mark tool that we made a couple weeks ago. I will link this video for making this up in the top corner. And I have, where did I put it? Black chalk. Now try not to touch the black with one hand, only touch it with one. I've got a wet wipe over to the side. I'm kind of wiping my fingers off a little bit on. Now you could go back and do a crosshatch. I'm not going to. I'm only going to put one set of grill marks on each one. Let's get you guys out of the way so I don't accidentally catch you with this. And I know I've got enough down here. Pushing in gently. I'm making just barely a dent into the top of the meat. I'll try to have a picture on the blog post to show you how far down I went on that. Did I get both sides of you? No, I did not. Okay. So I am going to continue doing this. I'll go ahead and get grill marks on all of these. Then I'm going to put these into the oven at the recommended temperature for my clay. Remember, if you're mixing brands of clay, use the lowest recommended temperature. And I'm going to bake these for about, I think I'm going to give them 15 minutes because they are kind of thick. And when they are baked and all the way cooled, I'll come back and we'll take a look. All right, our steaks are baked and cooled, and there's just a little bit, that one's not a very good example because I got it on the fat, but there's just a little tinge of red there, little rareness in our steaks. And the outside looks nice and well grilled. It's got the lovely grill marks. Now we're going to add a little texture and make it not quite such a flat looking surface. So I've got, on this container, I have a little bit of matte Mod Podge. I tried on a sample one I made earlier, I tried satin and it was just a little too much gloss to it. And then over here on this piece of foil, I have created some black sand, and we're going to use that to add a little texture. To do this, we've done it on the channel before. I simply took a black alcohol marker. This one's a Bic. You could use a Sharpie, and I colored a big, you can see a big amount of black ink on there. I sprayed it with some isopropyl alcohol, mixed it with a toothpick, dropped the sand on there, stirred it together, and I let it dry. Now I have black sand. That's going to make these look a little more realistic. So we're going to work one at a time, and I'm only going to work on the top right now. And then we'll come back and we'll do the sides, and then we'll do the other side. So I'm going to do that, and right away, remember that Mod Podge is going to dry clear, so you don't have to worry about that. Try to make a very thin coat. You can put as much or as little of this on. So I'm going to finish these up. I'm going to wrap my brush up. I'm going to let this Mod Podge dry. When it's completely dry, I'll come back and we'll go on to doing the edges. So I'll see you then. All right, hopefully the camera's picking up. I'll try and get some pictures of how this looks. But the next step is to, now that the top is dry, go ahead and do just a thin coat around the edges. And then another coat over the top to hold that on. And since it's getting very noisy here right now, they're working on the apartment directly above me and they're being very noisy. I am going to finish these up off camera. I'm simply going to do the same process that I just did on these three. Then when these are dry, I'm going to flip them over, add a coat of Mod Podge, add a sprinkle of the sand, and then another coat of Mod Podge once that dries. And once these are completely dry, I'll come back and show you how they look finished. So see you then. Well, here are our finished steaks, and I think they turned out really, really good. I love how they look. They were super easy to make. Not a lot of colors of clay, not a lot of fine detail work, but you end up with something that looks like it's got a lot of detail. And I thought I would add one to a meal. Show you, see, I think Doll wants this one today. There, look how good that looks. We've got a dinner. Super easy to do, a lot of fun, and this is one way to tie together some of the projects we've done and maybe something that's coming soon. So be sure and hop over to the blog post for more photos and to read my thoughts. If you enjoyed today's project, be sure and hit the like button and leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoyed my content and haven't subscribed, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.